figs for Millennium Edition?
Nope, I kept Emmy.
I used Emmy as well. So I enjoyed it.
I don't know. I prefer the UKC. It worked a hell of a lot.
We're definitely
All
better,
right.
so.
Here we go. We're gonna give you the skinny on the spike real quick. So assassination is gonna target players. That will cause you to drop a clone whenever it expires, right? So you're gonna get targeted by the boss. You have an arrow on you. So you're gonna run out. You're gonna drop your thing out there on one of those marks. We need to try and space them evenly because each one of those clones, when it expires, creates a nether rift. So that nether rift becomes like a black hole. It's gonna try to suck you in. If they are evenly placed around the room, then you get pulled evenly and you can stay in the middle pretty easily. If you get sucked into another rift, you're dead. So there's no second chances on that. Try not to get pulled into those rifts by being in between all rifts as they get dropped. Each progressive phase that we go through with assassinations, dropping clones, there'll be additional clones. So these marks are going to keep getting fuller and fuller eventually. We may not have enough for 6. We may need to drop them in between, but try to keep them in that same general pattern and move appropriately. That way you're not dropping them in the middle of the group. Please, thank you. There's going to be blades that come out later on, right? So you're going to need to watch those assassination clones there. So the clones will actually target you and they'll like shoot a line at you. So when you get a red line on, you need to make sure you run outside the group. Like red lines and blue lines, they always need to be moving away from the group, right? So you drop your clones out, then you get targeted, you move your red arrows out so that the whole raid doesn't get hit. Then in between phases, it's going to be something called regicide, where we actually get targeted, and there's going to be like, it's going to look like a pong bumper, man. It's going to go across the screen, and you need to try to make sure that you're moving and shifting. It's a fluid phase, right? We're going to do some damage to the boss, but we're going to be dodging those lines. They're called telegraphs. We're going to dodge those lines for other players and try not to make sure that our line isn't hitting everyone else. It's not going to target everybody. But just remember, the most important thing for phase 1 is the assassination, getting your clones out, making sure your clones don't stab into the group, and then standing in between the nether rifts, the black holes. And then in phase 2, don't cross the streams. No, cross the streams, but don't shoot other players with your stream.
Troubleshoot the pizza.
Keep in mind, tanks are going to move the boss over to one of these marks whenever the boss gets ready to drop her nether rift. That way we can use one more rift to help balance out the nether rifts around the circle. And then the boss will get dragged back to the middle.
Also, the boss drops one of those rips right,
I think you're
right there at
fucking
their
due
feet.
for it, Prot. You've been waiting for it.
It drops. Do I roll?
No.
No, I'll hold in. Trust.
Right, you've definitely been waiting for it.
What are you talking about?
It's fine. That's cheat. You'll see.
No,
You'll
I
check.
only hold it. For my best, man.
Hey, Zen.
Hey, that's cheat, bro. That's cheat.
Wake up.
Or I'll
I'm
stand
awake.
randomly
I'm just
and
stretching.
gonna run off the map. I'll do a triple pull and run off
Five.
the map. It's fine.
4,
Dude,
3,
just like what? I
2,
already have seen.
1.
Alright, you've seen Jones. Okay, fair enough.
Marked for death.
Remember, if you get the dagger on you, run away from the group so your dagger doesn't hit the group.
Watch your step.
Nope.
Nether rifts are out, into the middle. Not get pulled in, it's the death. Trust me, I did the first fight.
I strike
Alright, daggers.
I think
I'm trying!
There we
Stay away from
Okay.
lines.
Alright, line.
go. Okay, Ribbit, enjoy your
Watch your
shower.
step.
Never read. Terrible place.
Final twilight.
Run out.
Alright, watch the daggers. Move them out of the group.
Shredded. Shadow
Stay away
blade.
from lines.
Alright,
Watch your step.
about.
Oh, fuck.
Surrender to the night.
Alright. Keep them out of the group. And dodge other people that are out there.
Line on me.
Colin.
Okay.
Line on me. For those of you that are dodging daggers, once that first set of clones goes out, mark please.
Marked for death.
Once that first set is out, dodge the daggers. Mark.
Watch your step.
Mean a mark.
Devour
Those guys
and
are gonna dash and drop their rips.
Final
Daggers.
twilight.
Ready? Out, please.
Cut to ribbons.
Stay away
Cannot
from
escape
lines.
my blade.
Watch your step.
Dodge the rips.
Void take. I strike from everywhere.
Daggers. So far away from my last dagger. I think I'm fucking.
Stay away from lines. Watch your step.
Void take.
Alright, watch the rips.
The stars cannot reach you here.
Alright, watch the lines.
Tommy.
Line on me.
Yeah, no, I'd say no. I did 12 stat.
Line on me.
Oh, my bad. I know you.
Come on, baby.
Let's
Good
see.
stuff.
Impressive.
This
But did you
weapon don't
believe you were
care.
fighting the real thing?
That
I leave
weapon
the queen
looks so
to you.
fucking cool.
I get paid regardless.
Damn, lots of shaman shit here for me.
I will let your bounties grow before I collect. Until then, watch your back.
Exposing the ethereal has the queen questioning everyone
Make
in
sure you
her
loot the
court.
chest so you can
She
get your
is
extra stuff.
losing her grip. The queen has opened the inner sanctum to send her elite guards to kill you.
Yes?
Oh, she's squiggly joy. You got a squiggly? What? Uh-oh. That's no good.
You're roboting.
The conspirators are here. After I kill them, I will expose the traitor in
Okay, I
our
think we got-
midst.
Sorry,
The
what's
only thing you will expose is your weakness.
Fizzle was
I will crush these insurgents. In the name of
Oh,
Queen
I passed on it.
likely to cover your own treachery. After I rend them, I will deliver your head as well.
This one's a bit of
I
a
got some
flex
sick-
one.
Yeah.
I got
This.
some 610 legs going right now.
Tier. I mean, you could convert those into tier.
Who are we assigning
True.
for web bombs?
I'd like to do it again.
Okay.
You could have needed this.
And if you need anything, just take it.
All I did was read it. I didn't need it.
Oh, is it unique equip?
Unfortunately.
Oh man.
What's unique?
He already had the fist, so it's a unique equip. You can only have one at a time.
Yo, trade
Yeah,
that
so
shit
it's
to
like
me. I
you
want the
have
transmog.
If you have the
It's a set.
trinket,
Yeah. Maybe I'll mess around with like a outlaw, using that for main hand.
Right.
Huh?
So, webs again. We got one.
I'm too high.
I can
I'm
make it
almost like,
super
can you
simple
hear
for
me
anyone
better
that
now?
does
Heck, it does.
webs with me.
I don't need it.
You want to just me and you again?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
Dagender.
Yeah, Dag and Dare.
Same strat as last time. I'll just rescue you onto a web, you stay put, and I move to the other side.
Alright.
Okay, so first mechanic of the fight you need to know. Skyne Spinner's Takaj, right? Left side, skinny boss. We're gonna call him the caster. Right side is melee. That's a new Barash. We're gonna call him the melee boss. So the caster boss is gonna throw out web bombs. The web bombs will target the floor and not the players. So we're gonna avoid the web bombs when they're thrown. They will slow you if you're inside of that area. But we're trying to leave the web bombs for the boss, the melee boss's ability, which is called Reckless Charge. If you do happen to get webs, you do want to break the binding, okay? It's going to tie you together and it's going to cause perpetual damage. So you need to make sure that you break that if you happen to get it by accident. You
So
shouldn't,
we're
because
gonna
you're
need
going to
to
be...
talk about that.
So when the web bombs go off, Dare and Dag are going to grab one of those webs, they're going to stretch it across, and they're going to trip the melee boss when he dashes across the room. When the melee boss gets tripped, he's going to take 100% more damage for 12 seconds whenever he gets stopped. We need to focus on the melee boss to maximize our damage during that down phase whenever he's taking extra damage. So when the melee boss is tripped, everyone's on the melee boss for at least 12 seconds. They're going to kind of be stacked together. They have a shared health pool, so we're trying to burn them down together if we can. But that melee boss is going to take some extra whenever he's tripped. When we get into the in-between phase, which is going to be called Time 1 for the purposes of this fight, Time 1 is called Shatter Existence. If you look at the floor, you can kind of see where there's like pie slices, right? So we're standing in one right here when we came in the room. We need to make sure, as the caster boss is going to be in the middle of the room, a new Barash will be submerged. He'll be under the ground. So the caster boss is going to be throwing out like web shadow zones that are going to be randomly moving around the room and filling these pie slices. The web shadow zone goes out, and then a second later it's going to explode. You don't want to be in the web shadow zone when it explodes. You can stand in the web shadow zone, but you'll take damage. Try to avoid the web shadow zones if you can to alleviate the healing for the healers. And then as soon as you see a zone explode next to you, you're going to move into the empty space, and you're going to continue that through the phase while we DPS the boss's shield down. Once we break the boss's shield and we finish the pie phase and you avoid all that avoidable damage, honestly, most of it's avoidable damage, we're going to go into phase 2. During phase 2, we're going to have a web of vortex. That's the caster boss is going to pull everybody in and bind players. So you're going to get stuck together with another player with binding webs. You need to run away from your partner and break the webs. You're, again, taking perpetual damage from those webs. You gotta break them as quick as possible to alleviate heals and just avoid that as much of that damage as possible. There'll be another ability during phase 2 called Stinging Swarm. Basically what happens is 3 players are randomly going to get that Stinging Swarm debuff. Healers do not cleanse the debuff because that boss will begin to cast something called Cataclysmic Entropy. The boss will teleport to the middle when it begins that cast. Those 3 players are going to form a triangle around the boss in the middle. At that point in time, the healers will cleanse the debuff off of the players onto the boss in the middle. Once the boss has 3 stacks of the debuff back on them, that interrupts the cast of Cataclysmic Entropy. It's got to be done well coordinated. So if y'all want to, sort that out as on the fly there, but you got to get rid of those 3 stacks before the cast finishes, or we take great blind damage. So when we get into the next in-between phase with Anubarash, the melee boss going into the middle, he's going to do essentially rings that he spawns on the ground, whether it's a circle or a ring that's going to be on the ground randomly around the room. The ring shows up, you'll see it kind of crawling with like it's got worms, or like there's dirt shaking on the ground, and then immediately after that, like a second and a half after that, he shoots spikes up out of the ground. If you get hit by the spikes coming out of the ground, you get impaled and you're stuck there until somebody breaks you out. So we need to make sure that this
you use
time 2, the second time phase, is super easy to avoid all the damage and just burn the boss. This should be a healer recovery phase. Nobody should really be getting hit here. So avoid the circles, dodge the spikes, basically. DPS the boss, healers recover mana. Because when we get into phase 3, it's a fucking shit show. We have everything. Every single ability that's happened so far. We're gonna have the Stinging Swarm. We're going to have the Web Vortex that pulls players in. There's going to be 2 players that need to keep their Web Vortex because the boss is going to start to do Reckless Charge again, and 2 of those players are going to need to trip the boss. So we just have everything. We're going to have the Spike Storm still going to be going on during that last phase. We're going to have like spike circles going around and fucking all kinds of crazy shit. So, but keep in mind the Stinging Swarm still needs to be worked the same way. When the boss teleports to the middle, we're going to need to make sure that those 3 players surround the boss and get cleansed so that the boss gets interrupted. It gets crazier and crazier as the fight goes on.